Thank you, Joanna. And now it's my pleasure to ask up to the stage Michelle Chantera, who's the president of the American Market Association, New York.
Thank you very much, Bob. Hi, everyone. Good evening. What an amazing kickoff to this event. The food's fantastic, the beverage, the space, and obviously all the amazing energy in this room. So way to kick off a great event. Bob, Joanna, the committee, and all the volunteers that are making this happen. As Bob said, my name is Michelle Chantera. I am the president of the AMA New York chapter. I'm also, Joanna, one of those CMOs that is not very well respected, but I believe this event and what we're doing as a community in AMA New York is changing that. I fundamentally believe that as a marketing professional, it's up to all of us to change the narrative, change the perceptions, and change the dialogue. And this event is absolutely foundational. So a huge welcome to all of you, a welcome and a congratulations to the inductees. I am looking really forward to hearing from all of you. I am gonna do a worthless plug for AMA New York. If you are interested at all in learning a bit more about the chapter and the work that we do, all of us that are on the board are wearing these fancy little ribbons. I believe we're going to do a little bit of networking after the inductees speak. So feel free to come up to us, ask us questions. We'd love to share, and we'd love to have you all be a part of this amazing chapter. So welcome again, thank you, and I think it's time to start the show.
Great, thank you, Michelle. That was very nice. Hang on, just to make sure this stays right there. Stay, great. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce a former colleague and friend, Rich O'Leary, who's going to introduce Amy Fuller.
Thank you, Bob. I think that works. Thank you, Bob. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. When Amy Fuller was asked to be honored here tonight, she was incredulous. In fact, she told me she wondered if they had the right Amy Fuller. No joke. You see, Amy has never really been good at building her own brand. She's always been about the leading brands she's helped create and steward: MasterCard, Deloitte, and Accenture, as you've heard, to name three. Amy is being honored here tonight because she put marketing and branding on the growth agenda at major international companies long before that was a thing. And as one of her former business partners, I can attest, Amy, serial marketing success story, beloved colleague and beloved mom, Niall is here, has lifted and deftly spun all the plates in life. No drops and no fanfare until tonight. Sorry, Amy. So some of you might be asking, who is Amy Fuller? You haven't seen her on the speaker circuit, and her bylines, while very good, are few. Nevertheless, I am here tonight on behalf of thousands of us who have worked with this remarkable woman across leading client and agency organizations for decades, to introduce you to her. Induct her, I'm told, not introduce. And Amy, I'm here to reinforce why you must accept this honor you so richly deserve, if reluctantly. Before Amy speaks in a few minutes, I'd like to offer just a simple testimony from some quotes, people close to Amy who have worked with her over the years. And these are people like me, whom Amy has inspired, provoked, supported, pushed, promoted, conspired with, and consoled, all while making us actually better marketers and better people. Always leading with compassion, with grit, endless commitment, deep intellect, strict command of both analytics and creativity, and so importantly, warmth, humor, humility, generosity, and unerring authenticity, which is rare. Amy, none of us can fathom. For years, you'd get on and off planes from Singapore to London, Sao Paulo to Dubai, launch and steward holistic new marketing platforms, as we said, for multiple companies, cook amazing dinners, be a present mother to 2 grounded, successful boys, and a great wife to David, who is also here tonight, still your biggest fan. It's kind of breathtaking, actually. And you have paved the way for so many women who emulate you, which is why you are being honored here tonight. And many of those women are here. So some quotes, on to some quotes. From Jim Radacevic, creative leader at Y&R. Amy, so strong but soft-spoken, quietly in charge. Such high standards, it gave you confidence in the creative work. Always in the room, no us and them. If we worked late, she worked late. And of all her accomplishments, it's her ability to disarm us with her humor and, yes, again, her authenticity. Jim says, Amy is the closest I've had to a creative partner. Kudos to Accenture and Deloitte. I wish she had been my client. She is the model for who companies should have as their CMO. From senior marketing leader Pia DeVitra at Deloitte, Amy would always end meetings with questions. What did we miss? What are you worried about? She was honest about failure, always had our back. She didn't just improve company culture, she created it. From Director of Communications Stacey Jones at Accenture, Amy always had the best language to describe and make you feel things. She sweats every detail, no walls, no fear, stretched us to do things we didn't think we could do. She left a trail of purpose, a studied, disciplined human being always paying attention to other people. And then finally, from Joyce King Thomas, Chairman and Chief Creative Officer at McCann XPC and the creator of the Priceless campaign for MasterCard, quote, the best CMOs, especially the 4 we are honoring here tonight, have a superpower. Amy has 2 of them, a relentless focus on building brands mixed with empathy for the creative process. She knew, Joyce went on to say, how to foster great work, and even when she killed something, she always helped us get to something better and something great. So, Amy, the reviews of your career are in. You are a star. We always knew it, and we are thrilled you are taking your well-deserved star turn here tonight. Thank you, members of the AMA, ladies and gentlemen. It's make sure I get this right, Bob, it's my great privilege to induct Amy Fuller and introduce her into the Marketing Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Amy. Okay, good.
Thank you, Rich. That was incredible, but you set a bar that's too high. And the whole humor thing, try to forget you didn't hear that, because I can't do that. It is really fantastic, if surprising, to be here tonight. And I want to thank the AMA and all the many people who pulled this off. I want to congratulate these fabulous guys, Chris, Raja, Dan, for being here and being part of this wonderful event. So, the brief for what we could talk about was one of these wide open, talk about whatever you want. So, okay, Joanna, that's not very helpful to say that. So what I decided I would do with my time is do one of my absolute favorite things, which is to give advice. I love giving advice. Now, normally advice lands best if someone has asked for it. And so I know that no one has asked for this advice. And some of you are thinking, I don't really need advice. but I'm still going to do it because I have these 5 mantra things, and I found them to be really, really useful. To me now that I'm in this potpourri, the post-corporate existence, and that's why I'm going to share them. But I do need to apologize to my many teammates who are here who've heard them before. So if you hear snoring next to you, that means that person is one of my teammates and they have heard this before. But, okay, so the first one of the 5 is that creativity is a competitive driver. That is an unmistakable truth when you're on the agency side. When you flip to the client side, it's a little bit different. And there may be those who consider creativity be, a fluff thing, a nice to have. But what is important to realize is that you can't do anything without it, because if the number one task of a marketing effort is to get attention, you can't do it without creativity. And that's getting harder and harder. So then, what does that actually mean? It means that your job as a marketer is to create the conditions that allow creativity to foster, because it may not be there already. And if it's not, it's your job to make it happen. So that's the first one. The next one gets at who should your best friend be, and how do you write a marketing plan? And I especially learned this when I flipped to the client side, which is it's really, really easy to write a marketing plan. All you need is the business plan. That's really all you need, because the business plan will write the marketing plan, and it will also write the brand strategy. But here's why it's not necessarily easy to do. If you're at a publicly traded company, super easy. Listen to a couple of earnings, you've got it. If you're not at a publicly traded company, say you're at a federation of partnerships, for example, it can be really, really hard to actually find the business strategy written down so you can use it to have it write your marketing strategy. So that goes to, who is your best friend? Who should your best friend be? The CFO. Someone already knew that. See, this is, we don't really need advice, but you're captive, so I'll keep going. So the CFO, especially if it's hard to find the business strategy, can answer the question in a sentence or two, which is, where's the growth coming from? So you'll get that answer in a sentence or two, and you're off. So that was the second one. The third one is that curiosity is actually more valuable than certainty. And Joanna talked about kind of the mess of the moment. And what I've especially noticed just in the past couple of years is the lack of a playbook applies to almost everything. And certainly when you think about what people expect from corporations, what they expect from CEOs. So mix that in with all of the other dynamics that all of you know as well as anyone. So you don't know what to do. Now usually that's like the world's most bad feeling, especially if you're supposed to know and you don't know. But that is why marketing people are so special, is that not knowing is the thing that gets you to ask the questions to really know. And that is like, the labyrinth of finding the truth, of figuring out what matters and what doesn't, is something that, that marketing people do really well. And it's essential to getting to the real truth of the matter. Then there is the next one. The last two are my all-time favorites, and one of them is early, ugly, and often. And when I first got to my last job, I realized that people on my team were spending a lot of time polishing, creating very polished and very thought-through ideas, but to bring them to me. And so what I suggested is, let's not spend the time on the polish, because the real thought and the real work and the real success happens in conversation and then in an iterative way with your team. And so there's always a time for polish, but it's at the end. It's not at the beginning, at the first consumption of the idea. And when I initially talked about this, people were extremely skeptical, because what they thought was, yeah, you can say that, but if we come in with the less than highly polished thing, you're not going to like it, you won't buy it, etc. And so when people would come in to share work, they would preface it with, "You said," early, ugly, and often, "You said that." And in fact, it worked really well. And it was something we meant. We were able to adopt that as a cultural mantra, rallying cry. And what it allowed us to do was work really, really fast. And in the past couple of years, we had things we had to do, lots of things, really, really fast, because we had a very high-octane new CEO who worked really, really fast. And it is working in that way. We couldn't have done it otherwise. And as we said, when we had finished all of these mega things, we did it without tears. And for me, that was very important, the no tears aspect, because fear is a crummy motivator. It's a killer of good work, it's a killer of ideas, and it's a killer of just feeling good in the workplace. So the last one might be my favorite, because my husband, David Henderson, who's out there somewhere, came up with it, and it's ski or be skied. And when he came up with it, it was not a metaphor, because David is a fabulous skier. He helps other people who are less fabulous get better. And so his advice was ski or be skied, meaning lean in, don't let the ski ski you. And so that was true. It was the truth. It helped me become a better skier. But then it quickly became a metaphor, because the world's worst thing is the problem has you by the tail. And so ski or be skied was a way of thinking about running into problems, grabbing them as early as you possibly can, and skiing them. So this became something we talked about a lot, and in fact, it started as a family motto, and I could see my sons doing this. So one son, Niall, sat us down once when he was in college, and he said, "I'm going to go to officer candidate school and end up in a branch of the US military." And the skiing part of that was the idea, but he also said, "I am not asking you, I'm telling you." And so that was a skiing move, and in fact, he did do it. And then there's William, our other son, and William has a tattoo right here. And the tattoo says, "Ski or be skied." So he's wearing long sleeves, so it's gonna be hard to show off this tattoo. But we even talked about it as, should it be a family tattoo? I'm chicken when it comes to pain, so we never did actually do that. So those are the mantras. They helped me. I hope they help some of you. I think they've helped my teams. And the last marketing thing to share is something that I heard from a long time ago, the CMO of Geico. Of course, Geico had done absolutely fantastic work over the years, creating a new way of talking about a category. And he said, "If you are not having fun, you're doing something wrong." And I thought that was just a great way of thinking about what kind of culture you want, how do you want to work with people, how do you want it to feel. So that's it for my marketing stuff. But I did want to acknowledge the people who have been just the people who have allowed me to work as hard as I've wanted to work and do the things I wanted. And the first one is my very first career counselor, Catherine Mendez, who's hiding in the audience somewhere. And we're pretty close in age, and when we got out of college, she went to Wall Street, I went to Madison Avenue. And she really helped me understand how to be and how to be in the workplace. Then David Henderson, my husband of 30 plus years, came along. And I don't know if at that time he realized that he would be spending those decades talking me down. So support, advice, simply listening, and doing more than most other halves do. And there's this concept of the second shift, which says for women in the workplace, they work, 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 and then they come home and do the dishes and cook and so on and so forth. We never did it that way. It was a fabulous partnership in all areas. And that is what allowed me to work as hard as I wanted and with the enjoyment that I had. And William of the tattoo, and Niall of the I'm telling you. These two are my inspiration from the moment they came on the scene, and they're still my inspiration. So with that, thank you for listening, and thank you for being here tonight.